And the knowledge in American history since 9/11, we've had 85 major attacks in our country. 73% of them have been by white nationalist hate groups against minorities, against others. And for us to be silent in the face of a president who utters reflective bigotry and not say anything, we know our history, we know what happens when people stand by and do nothing and say nothing, but then to help obscure it or try to minimize it, that does nothing more than contribute it. So we just had King Day, Chris, and King said it more eloquently than I do. What we have to repent for in this day and age is not just the vitriolic words and violent actions of the bad people, but the silence and inaction of the good people. And that's what worries me.
Do you believe that the President of the United States is one of the reasons for the attacks that you were just mentioning?
So I've seen instances in my state of bigotry, hate crimes. Talk to folks from the radio, the law enforcement, and seeing how these things seem to be going up, how people seem to have. And again, it's not a broad brush. It's a very narrow element of American society. But there seems to be a light out there.
What can you get for a penny? Why not create your own custom website today for just 1 penny at HostGator.com? Use coupon code HostGatorVideo to get professional website templates and themes, free website tools, one-click installs, and our award-winning 24/7 customer service. If you already have a website, we'll even migrate it for free. Make the most out of your penny and get your website online today. Visit HostGator.com now.
And I believe that power comes responsibility. And so he is not calling to the best of our angels as a country. He is not calling to the heart and the spirit and the greatness of our country. He's going to the lowest common denominators or worse. He's getting into the gutter. He's demeaning and degrading people consistently from his campaign to his time in presidency, attacking Gold Star families, saying a judge can't do his job just because of his ancestry, saying ignorance of history, not even knowing if people like Frederick Douglass are alive or not. That kind of ignorance and bigotry allied with power is indeed a very dangerous thing in our country.
When you were, I can understand why you would direct that kind of talk to the president based on what you're saying right now, but what was it in that interview today, that questioning with the Homeland Secretary, that got you so angry?
She didn't seem to understand the connection and the worry and the fear that exists in this community, in our country. There's definitely fear of terrorism from abroad or terrorist-inspired, jihadist terrorists who are inspired at home. But when I go to churches from Alabama, churches in Atlanta, churches in Camden and Newark, when I talk to communities of color, when I talk to Sikh communities, when I talk to Muslim communities, there's also a fear of hate groups. There's a fear of white nationalist groups. People and children in my community who watched what happened in Virginia. And so for her not to understand, not to answer a direct question, this is when I really got set off from Connecticut Senator Blumenthal, for her not to answer a direct question and dismiss it and saying, I'm here to talk about things to keep Americans safe, and not to understand that her complicitness, her failure to call out bigotry, her silence, and for not to understand the connection and the thread in this country, the urgency we all have to standing up and speaking out against hate, that got me angry. I am here right now, Chris. I can show you time and time again in my personal history and in my family history where great Americans, white folks, Jewish folks, people who are different than me in color and creed, stood up for my family, called out bigotry, called out hate, fought against injustice. Even the house my family bought, that I grew up in, it took great white people, Americans who believe in our values, standing up for my family to even buy the house and the home I grew up in. And so for me not to get angry, to see someone right now in modern American history in 2018 to witness bigotry and hate and not call it out, well, guess who did? Lindsey Graham did. Lindsey Graham went right back at the president of the United States and reminded him that people come to this country escaping famine, escaping war. And it hasn't just been countries in Africa or South America. It was countries in Europe as well. And those countries in Europe, the violence they escaped from, there are lessons there. When people started talking about social engineering, about how certain races are more preferable than other races, we saw what happened with that in Europe when people didn't check that kind of hate and check that kind of violence and what happened as a result of it. So I cannot be silent. And she definitely hit a nerve in me because I know the debt I owe to great Americans who stood up against bigotry. That's why I'm